Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for an amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs. I am Simon Javan Okelo, and I am live streaming from Seattle, Washington, and we are live on Clubhouse, and we are also live on YouTube. Thank you again. You know, I missed our session on Friday last week. I have been a bit under the weather, so as you can tell, my voice is just, recovering. My voice is just recovering, and I'm able to communicate just a little better than I was the last few days. I have been, I've had this cold that has been so persistent, and so I'm just lucky that I can speak again. You never know how special it is to be able to speak until you don't have a voice, So today we are going to be, here in the African Father in America Club. I realized that on Clubhouse, our room today is actually not within the African Father in America Club. So, no problem anyway. I do see Roger, welcome. And to those who are joining us for the first time, this is a session that we host every Monday to Friday. And I have been hosting this session since January 2001. And when we gather here, we pick an African proverb, we dissect it, and we learn something from it. We learn especially wisdom. The hope is that by the time we leave this conversation, we have a bit of African wisdom that we can go into our day with. So today we are going to be talking about an African proverb from Malawi. Malawi is in southern Africa, and the proverb says, the fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. The fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. So I want you to think about this proverb for a moment, but I also want to share with you a few questions for you to consider as we start our conversation today. These are the questions that I want you to consider, but I also want you to invite, a few people into the room, 3 to 5 people. I want you to share this live session with your community members. So here are 4 things that I want you to think about, 4 questions that I want you to ask yourself as we begin our conversation today. The first one is, what is the fear of making mistakes? What is it? Number 2, what are some common symptoms of the fear of making mistakes? And then number 3, how does the fear of making mistakes hold people back? And then number 4, what are some ways to overcome the fear of making mistakes? I want you to think about those 4 items as we begin our session today. And, we are live 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. East African Time, Monday to Friday. That's when we bring you this daily African Proverbs. And when I personally looked at this proverb, together with my team who prepared, today's session for us, I thought that this proverb speaks so much to me personally, because I have been, out of commission since last Thursday. I had this, I think it's called laryngitis, where you can't really talk, your voice is gone, and I had a cold, I was coughing, so I could not do this session. I could not host the Daily African Proverbs on Friday, and over the weekend, I stayed, very calm and low key. I drank a lot of, tea tea with ginger and so many natural remedies, a lot of honey. And when I woke up this morning, I still felt like I was not ready, because I always want to host this session, which is being recorded for the African Father in America podcast. I always want to show up when I'm ready, when my voice sounds good, when I feel that I can communicate effectively. But there was no way I was going to miss today, even if I was not totally ready. So this proverb really, for me, it helps me define, what is the fear of making mistakes. Friday, it's because of, if I show up without a voice and I can't handle the whole 1 hour session, what is it that is going to happen? So I was asking myself so many unnecessary questions that I was like, just let it be. Let me just take a break and rest, which was the best decision. But there was also the fear of sounding terrible, and I feel that one of the symptoms of the fear of making mistakes is just creating so many excuses, creating so many hurdles for yourself, so much that you feel like you cannot overcome these hurdles that you've actually created for yourself in your mind, even if they don't exist, So in my case, I was just, creating many excuses, but they were good excuses for my throat because I wanted to feel really good. But at the same time, if I allowed those excuses to lead today, I would have not been here, And so I just want to encourage you sometime to challenge some of the excuses that you give yourself, especially for those of us who are on a journey to stay fit or to stay healthy. Sometimes the choices of the food that you want to eat are so difficult to make, but they are also so easy because you are the person who actually picks what you're going to eat and what you're not going to eat, or you're the person whose legs are going to run if you decide to run, and your hands are the ones who are going to lift those weights or do something or stretch, But at the same time, you also have to talk to yourself. You have to talk yourself out of these excuses. You have to find ways of encouraging yourself to do the things that you really don't want to do, but they're the best things for you. So those are some initial thoughts that I want to share. But I want to welcome you all who have joined us for today's daily African Proverbs. I'm so excited to see Mal and, Keisha and Candice. All of you are welcome. And I just want to open the floor just briefly to hear what Roger and Eric and William have to say in regards to today's proverb from Malawi. The proverb says that fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Please share with me your perspectives, Roger, briefly. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. I wasn't actually expecting to land on the stage, but since I'm here, let's go with it. Fear of making a mistake, fear of failure. I had something to say. What was it? Oh, yeah. I like to think that I make a lot of good decisions these days. I make sound decisions, optimal decisions, but I had to go through a learning process to make them, and that was, making a lot of terrible decisions in my youth. That's all from me. I'm done speaking.
Incredible. Thank you so much. It's true, Roger. Without making terrible mistakes or without learning, it's definitely impossible to be wiser and to make better decisions. So thank you again for sharing your words of wisdom with us. Where are you joining us from today?
I am joining you from the tiny island of Singapore in Southeast Asia.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your continued support, and thank you for volunteering to help promote Africa Day, which is happening here on Clubhouse on May 25th. it's going to be a 24-hour marathon where for 24 hours we will just be talking about Africa Day and Africa in general. We will be talking about, some of the current events that are going on in Africa in terms of technology, in terms of food, in terms of travel. So you don't want to miss it. You can follow Africa Day Club, and you will be able to catch some of the pre-Africa Day events and also Africa Day itself on May 25th. So remember to mark that on your calendar. Again, I want to move on to Eric. Eric, thank you again for making the time to join us today. Please share with us where you're joining us from, and also your perspectives on this proverb today. Thank you very much. Wonderful. I suspect that Eric is probably not ready to speak at the moment, so we will give him a moment, and we will hear from you in a moment. Eric, I'll come back to you. I want to hear from you, William. How are you today? How was your weekend? Where are you joining us from? And also, what is it that comes to your mind when you hear this proverb from Malawi that says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. It was a good weekend. I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of relaxing, a little homework mixed in with that. I'm joining you today from Kenmore, Washington, just about 25 minutes northeast of Seattle. This proverb for me is very interesting. I think that in life, sometimes, the fear of making mistakes is a natural phenomenon. When you're new at something, you want to be good at it, but sometimes there's this looming cloud over you, and it's like, if I don't do this right, I could get fired. If I don't do this right, I could be embarrassed. But, the fear of, dropping one drop is sometimes a little bit overwhelming. So sometimes you just have to, look within yourself and say, hey, I need to be confident in this situation. I need to just try my best. And if I make a mistake, I'm just going to learn from it. So that's my perspective.
I love that. I love your perspectives on this, William, and I agree. A lot of the time, it's the questions that we ask ourselves, and then the answers that we give ourselves in response to these questions that we ask ourselves. So, what you said is totally true. And, when it comes to being employed, a lot of the time creativity and innovation is also blocked by the fear of making mistakes. If it's someone's company that you're working for, and there are a lot of rigid policies about innovating and about creating in order for you to find a solution, even for a client for that company, then it's that fear of losing your job or being summoned by your boss and being ridiculed in front of your co-workers. Those are some of the things that could lead you not to make mistakes. And some of it is also from our childhood. For those who are parents, I'm a parent here myself. I'm a father of 3 girls, and one of the things I'm learning is how do I react when my daughters make mistakes. At the beginning of me being a parent, I was I was like a perfectionist parent. I didn't want my kids to spill things around the house. And when somebody did such things, I would be very annoyed, and I would make create a scene about it. But these days I'm realizing that I've become a little better at it. Instead of reacting, I just engage them. Like this weekend, one of my daughters spilled a lot of. There's this thing called rainbow rice. Where rainbow rice, children love playing with this rice, and it's just good for them to hold and create with. But then if they spill it, especially on a carpet or on a place where you have to be the one cleaning it, it's so difficult to clean and to pick all the pieces of rice. So this weekend, my last born spilled a lot of this rainbow rice and I had to clean it. But my reaction to her was amazing to me, because I thought that I would be so annoyed the whole time. But I just told her, hey, it looks like your job is to make a mess and my job is to clean your mess. And she looked at me and kind of laughed about it. Different reaction to, to how I used to react to things. And I just appreciated myself for growing a little bit. But I want to share a few questions that I want you to consider as you join us on the stage and as you think about this African proverb from Malawi. These are the questions that I want you to also use to guide you in responding to this proverb, but also just come up with your own perspective. Remember, the proverb is from Malawi and it says, "Fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot." There's another Kiswahili proverb very similar to this. I'll share it in a moment. But these 4 questions, hopefully you can consider them and just write them somewhere as well. Number 1, what is the fear of making mistakes? What is it? It's different for everyone. Maybe you are not afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you grew up being allowed to screw up and make any kind of mistake possible. And hopefully that's helping you as an adult now. The other one is, what are some common symptoms of the fear of making mistakes? I feel that questions, just mental questions that you put in front of you that becomes obstacles that block you from doing what you really need to do. And then how does the fear of making mistake hold people back? Here you need to give yourself examples of when is it that you've allowed the fear of making mistakes to hold you back from taking advantage of certain opportunities in your life, and how are you going to try and overcome them so that when similar opportunities come across your life or in the future, you can fully take advantage of them. And then number 4, what are some ways to overcome the fear of making mistakes? I was saying earlier, there's a Kiswahili proverb that is very similar to this proverb. It says, maziwa yakimwagika hayazoleki, and that means once milk has been spilled, you cannot recover it. So the similarity with this one is, once fear has made you lose an opportunity, you cannot recover that opportunity. So I want to check back with you, Eric, quickly. Just tap your mic if you are available. I want to make sure we give you space so that we hear your voice as well. Eric Mbiu, if you're there, I'll let you speak. If you're not, I will continue on to Lavender and I'll come back to you because I haven't seen you tap your mic. Lavender, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? How was your weekend? And what are your perspectives on this proverb from Malawi that really speaks about the fear of making mistakes?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Simon. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share about my perspective in regards to today's proverb, the fear of making mistakes. I'm Lavender Toya, based in Nairobi, Kenya. My thoughts on today's proverb is that mistakes are what help us grow as people when it comes to business. You can only learn from your mistakes. That's when you know when to that's where you learn about your blind spots when it comes to business or even relationships. We learn through mistakes. And Simon, the proverb about the Swahili proverb you just shared, spilled milk is milk spilled, maziwa yakimwagika hayazoleki. Mistakes are bound to happen, and when they happen, we can only move on from that and move on from them and grow. If you dwell on it, you'll definitely be stuck. That's it for me for now. Thank you. I'm Lavender and I'm done speaking.
Thank you very much, Lavender. So, I just appreciate your perspective as well. What it reminds me of is once you make a mistake and you've seen it, the milk is spilled. Why dwell on it? Move on, get the next milk, or find the next challenge. Don't let what just happened control the rest of your life. So thank you again. Welcome, RJ. We are in the process of dissecting an African proverb from Malawi, and we are learning some African wisdom from it. The proverb says that fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. So think about that. I'm going to get to you in just a moment. Eric, whenever you're ready, just tap your mic and I'll be able to get back to you. For now, I'll move on to Steve. Oh, I see Eric is ready now. Eric, I'll pass you the mic. Just share with us where you're joining us from, how your weekend was, and also what you think when you hear this proverb from Malawi, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm in the kind of Bluetooth, but I'm calling from, I'm here from Sugarland, Texas. It's always a pleasure to be in your room, Simon. The proverb is very, actually it hits close to home, right? Because sometimes, you learn from your mistakes. And when you don't, sometimes you can make bigger mistakes. And I think some of the best inventions have come from people trial and error, right? Making mistakes and learning from them, and never repeating the same mistake twice. So I believe that through my life, I think there's a lot of people that are scared to make mistakes, that they miss out on a lot of opportunities. And I've seen it in my line of work, and I've seen it also in just people around us, friends, colleagues, partners, etc. And so listening to you and listening to the proverb, it's just something to think about this fine Monday morning. And I'm glad that I'm in the room and want to hear everybody's insight into it. And hey, RJ, it's been a while, and I'll listen in and add value where I can. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you so much, Eric. I hope you are doing well. I'm just glad that you're here, and I love your perspectives, by the way. And I'll continue on to Stephen, who is also joining us here. Stephen, share with us where you are joining us from, and also what your perspectives are on this Malawian proverb that says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Before you go, Steve, though, I want to invite everyone in the room. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is at the top of the Clubhouse room. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing if you are already a subscriber. And if you're not, I urge you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive some of these African proverbs daily, Monday to Friday, and you can also learn in depth about some of these proverbs, and hopefully you live with some wisdom that can guide you and add value to your life. Steve, share with us your thoughts, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Steven, joining from Kisumu, Kenya, and I'm happy to be a part of this session today. It's a wonderful proverb to start the week with, and the fear of making mistakes, in many ways, holds us back from doing what we would even done better or doing greater things. And what comes in mind when I digest this proverb is another say that goes that once bitten, twice shy. If you've undergone an experience, or if you've done a mistake that is regrettable, you wouldn't wish to repeat such a mistake. For instance, let's take for the case of those who gamble. You wouldn't want to repeat to gamble if it wasn't your first time. But if you are daring and you're willing, always bold enough to be taking the risk, you'll always be learning from your mistake, and you will place your cards smartly. So to summarize this proverb again is we learn from our mistakes, and we build our steps from the mistakes that we've learned. If we keep on being held back by the experiences that we've gone through, then we can't move forward. We'll always be remaining static at the same place where we are. We'll not be ready to get out of that cocoon of taking risk or trying something again just because of the mistake or the experience that we had undergone. And with that, allow me to summarize by saying that experience is the best teacher. Let's let our mistake be our experience, and let us learn from the mistakes that we've made, or the situations that we've gone through that brings about the fear in us. We shake off the fear and take bold step moving forward. Asante, Simon, and back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve. I love and appreciate what you just said. Mistakes and experience are the best teachers. So I love that. I do want to invite everyone who is in the room to volunteer to help with promoting Africa Day across Clubhouse. Last year, we literally took over this platform of Clubhouse. And if you're watching on YouTube, Clubhouse is a drop-in social audio app where you can literally, it's like a radio station where you can listen to a conversation and also participate in a conversation. And that's how you are able to hear everyone who is who is speaking right now. It's because they are on Clubhouse, and we've connected Clubhouse to YouTube. So on May 25th, what's going to happen is that we are going to have speakers from South Africa, from Thailand, who are African people that are going to be speaking about different topics. We are going to also have artists and poets. We are going to have the UN Under Secretary who is advising the UN Secretary General about issues to do with Africa. And so we want you all to wear the special Africa Day profile picture that Roger has. That's the color for volunteers, the red. And then we have yellow, which is for speakers. You'll be seeing those a lot soon because we're having more speakers who have already signed up, but they're yet to receive their Africa Day badges. But the green is for moderators. So we'll have moderators who will be running the room for the entire 24 hours. So I highly encourage you to send me a direct message through Instagram with your picture if you want to be a volunteer for Africa Day. And basically what that means is you'll have a nice Africa Day profile picture, and you'll be able to go to other rooms and let people know that May 25th for 24 hours we are celebrating Africa Day on Clubhouse. And we also have the backing of Clubhouse itself. We are in direct communication with their marketing team, and you'll be seeing them promoting Africa Day on their social media platforms as well. So that's it for Africa Day. And if you have any questions, send me a message on Instagram and I'll be able to share with you more about that. Stella, how are you doing? And what are your perspectives on this beautiful Malawian proverb that says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot?
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everyone. Today's proverb, the first time I saw it, I felt attacked directly, but in a good way, because it's talking about something that has held me back on some areas in my life, something we call fear. And sometimes you just want to be so perfect when you're doing something, but then you realize that you end up not even doing it the right way, and you feared so much of failing that you still failed anyway. But at the end of the day, you get to learn. So I've learned to stop fearing so much and sometimes just take the next step and find my way out. Otherwise, thank you for today. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Stella. I agree with you. Fear can make you not do so many things, and also fear can make you do things that even if you tried and did them and made mistakes, you'd have still failed. But at least you tried. And I also want to just speak to fear when it comes to the current era of social media that we're living in, where a lot of things that you're trying, you have to actually try them in public, not just not just in your mind or in front of your family and community, but in the world. The world is watching what you're doing, and there are so many terrible things that people do because they are fearless. So also just knowing when your fearlessness is unnecessary, everything with limitations. So just appreciate your share as well. And I want to welcome, Lord, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to come to you, RJ Cooper. How are you doing today? And what is it that comes to your mind when you hear this Malawian proverb that says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot? And our theme today is the fear of making mistakes. Share with us where you're joining us from and what your perspectives are on this proverb.
Hello, Simon. Thank you for the invite. How are you doing? It's good seeing you again. So, when I first listened to you on the proverb, and again on there's an old American saying, and maybe a couple of things I'll share. But the first came to me is just no sense crying over spilled milk, which basically is the same thing. And with that, I took from that when I was a kid and I first heard it was that the milk has been spilled. You got to pick it up and you got to keep on moving, and no sense crying over it. And the other part that comes with the fear. Before I speak on fear, as far as another proverb, but it's a philosophical, is that they talk about Michael Jordan, the famous basketball star, the greatest of all time. He said that he learned to get over his fear. People thought he was great with his shooting, but they didn't understand how many times he failed at making that shot. So it's a brief story, but just the bottom line is that he made this. He tried a million times, you imagine, or 100 million times to shoot the basketball in practice when nobody was around and could see him make the mistakes in order to um, become what we call almost perfection. Nobody's perfect. But where I take that saying is that we walk by faith and not by sight. Because when you become fearless to the point where you're not afraid to make that first step, to take that first chance, there's a saying called a leap of faith. And this is from experience. And so I don't speak on what I've heard. I listen to what people told me, like the saying. And then I actually went out and tried, made the mistakes at a young age, and it wasn't because I was young, it was because I was taught don't be afraid to make that first step. Martin Luther King. The journey starts with one step, and you make the mistake. And the beautiful thing about making those mistakes is you get to get back up again and learn from that so you don't make that mistake again. And once you try it the next time, you find yourself moving forward. So that's where I take from that. And in life now, and my journey is to a point where I want to say I'm fearless, because when you learn the spiritual sense of yourself and the things that you're capable of doing, you understand that you can walk by the faith and the confidence that you can get anything accomplished. It's just the journey and the journey and the challenges you go through doesn't stop you. You just have to keep moving forward. Dust yourself off, pick yourself up, find another glass of milk, and move forward until you realize you're actually making positive steps to where you're going, and then you become fearless, not afraid to take that next step. I hope that answered your question. This is RJ. I'm complete for now.
Yes, RJ, you definitely answered my question, and you took us on a journey there. We would definitely. I would love to have you as a guest, actually, for my podcast. I realize I haven't interviewed you. Another person I'm chasing at the moment is Meseret. I want to interview you both, and anyone else who wants to be a guest for the African Father in America podcast. Please let me know, or let Lavender or Stella know. You can DM any one of us, and we can schedule you to be a guest during this same session, and you'll be live with me on YouTube. By the way, for those who don't know, I am live streaming this session on YouTube as well as on Clubhouse, and I do that Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're always strict on that time because it's a podcast episode being recorded for the African Father in America podcast, which is available across all podcasting platforms. Kenny, I just wanted, RJ, I just wanted to say something real quick before we get to Kenny, is that, even for those of us who are fearless, there are also, let's say, you've grown to a point where you have so much confidence, and you're living at a moment, or you're living a life of fearlessness. But there are little things that actually still scare you. For example, you're not scared of taking business risks, taking bold steps with major things. But there are little things like going for a run. You fear that, I might break my leg. Because you're growing older, you know that you can actually break your leg. But then you look at other areas where your fearlessness has driven you to success, and then you apply the confidence and the fearlessness in those other areas into these small areas where you have fears, and it allows you to also do well in those areas. So the more things in your life that you do without fear, that you can also learn that, even here I was afraid of doing it, but I overcame that fear and I was able to do it well. You can apply it to another area. So it's always really good to get to a place where you are fearless in most of the things that you do. Then you can borrow the courage and the confidence from one thing and apply it to another. I just wanted to add that. But Kenny, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well, my brother. How are you? Where are you joining us from? And what is your perspective on this proverb from Malawi? It says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Thanks a lot. I suspect that Kenny might be away from his microphone, so we will get back to you in a moment. We'll go right away to Lord Mwenda. How are you doing, my brother? Habari yako? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on this beautiful Malawian proverb?
Hey, Vipi Kaka, it's Bliss in Life. Thank you for the invite. I'm kind of busy, so I'm gonna, try to rush through or hurry through. I'm Wenda, and I'm somewhere here in Georgia. It's a beautiful day, beautiful day, man. You guys need to step outside. Spring, this is actually the weather. I tell people, man, this is how the weather is where I'm from, somewhere in East Africa. You know what I'm saying? Damn near every day. So, but in the essence of the fear of making mistakes, Yeah, I've actually been dealing with that myself, and I don't know if anyone else touched on it, but the empowerment that you feel after you do something that you were afraid to do, and you actually do it, and whether or not it works out, and especially if it succeeds, it's incredibly empowering. And in relation to to the to the to the proverb from Malawi, it's very true. It's the essence of, just think about when someone is like looking over your shoulder while you're doing your work. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like that. I don't know about everybody else, but when I used to be in class and I'm writing down all that, and someone is coming, hovering over, it would make me very uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the essence of that fear of having mistakes when you're about to have something. And yeah, you're gonna be you have something hovering over what you're doing, to the extent where it would have been something slight, but because of your fear, a lot more is damaged or lost. But continue. Thank you. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. What you said reminds me of doing math in Kenya. We had a math teacher that for every mistake you made, that was one stroke of the cane. And we had 100 questions in math exams. So if you got 50%, you get 50 strokes of the cane. If you got 25% right, you have 75 strokes of the cane. So when we were doing math and he was walking around the class just seeing whether you got the concept right or not, we were literally trembling, and we hated math as a result. I still hate math as a result, especially realizing that I really don't need it in every aspect of my life, actually. But what you said really, really resonates with me. The origin of the fears that we all experience. Who is it in your life that planted the seed of fear in you, and how can you overcome it? What is it that you can excel in fearlessly, so that you can apply it in other areas where you still experience fear? Thank you again, my brother, Lord. And I want to just quickly give Mir a shout out. Thank you for joining us. And I also want to just welcome everyone who is in the room and not on the stage. Feel free to join us on the stage if you can. If you can't, feel free to share the link to this room and also engage us in the chat. If you have time, please join me on YouTube. I'm live streaming this session, and we are doing this from Monday to Friday every single week. And I can't do this on my own. I'm getting this done through the help of Stella, Steve, and Lavender, who are part of my team at One Vibe Africa. So I really, really appreciate you all for all your help. But now I want to come to Meseret Messi, who is an incredible leader and facilitator of incredible conversations here on Clubhouse, and also a mover and shaker in Ethiopia, and one of the people who are helping make Africa Day possible this year. Messi, we are discussing a Malawian proverb. And this proverb speaks about fear, the fear of making mistakes. And it says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Share with us where you are joining us from and what this proverb means to you.
Hi, Simon. Thank you. You're just so generous all the time. It's just that I don't know how I even explain how many great things you are doing for the continent. So thank you so much for your kind words. I think if I look at the proverb, like literally, I don't know, I never heard of it before. So it's great to hear that. It's really amazing. But the way I see it is if you really are scared of making even the slightest, the smallest mistake, that would actually cause you make the biggest one. From what I'm just literally trying to see the English of it, like if you are afraid of dropping something, such a small drop of water, you may end up spilling the entire bucket, right? But I think from the whole perspective, from what I have been doing. And even here in Ethiopia, when I look at entrepreneurship and why it's lagging, even compared to, not just comparing it to, the US or developed economies, even within Africa, why we are behind compared to Kenya and even Nigeria and other parts of Africa, is that one of the things, not really necessarily the entire thing, is actually we are not encouraged to be embracing making mistakes. We are actually very afraid of failure. Failure is not really encouraged. It could be just poverty. To me personally, I could be dead wrong, but I think a lot of the time, even me growing up as a kid, is like always encouraged: go to school, study your thing, and become engineer or a doctor, and you would be set in your life. You're gonna make a salary and you'll be set. And that is the only way we always thought about getting out of poverty, getting a better profession, getting a better life, and improving and developing. And we just don't encourage other things, because even entrepreneurship, because that's kind of considered that you would be in a system where there is no certainty. And of course, starting your own business has full of uncertainty. And that's just my interpretation of it, that even when you fail, even when we try and fail, it's just the society doesn't actually embrace that. They look at you as not a profession, trying and getting closer to your solution, right? The way I look at it is, the mistake you make, one mistake you make, one step closer to the solution that you would end up getting. That's how I am looking at it now. But that's not how it's looked at even today in the society, that failure is not acceptable. It's kind of demonized. So a lot of people, even when they try to get what they are passionate about, they want to get into entrepreneurship or anything else, even like awesome things in your life that you want to jump in, we're always try to do something on the side so that nobody asks us what we are doing, or some of the crazy things we are doing on the side. So for me, especially, migrating and living in Canada most of my life and comparing the two society, those are the two things that I look at it really, really big, because I think in the US and Canada, in developed economies, my goodness, failure is encouraged from very small childhood starting to adulthood. People are encouraging you to experiment on things, to try and reach the stars, and it's just amazing. And I think that's the testament that the US really is always innovating. So that's how I look at it. I hope I'm not bubbly, but I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much, Messi. Yeah, I love your perspectives, and I also really love the idea of encouraging people to make mistakes. Creating room for people to make mistakes is really, really important. I think that's where growth comes from the most. So I appreciate you for that. I wonder if you want to speak about Africa Day briefly, for those who are just hearing about it for the first time. Maybe just reflect on last year's Africa Day and some of the work that we're doing to make this year's Africa Day possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would be remiss if I don't mention how amazing it was last year. And thank you for actually spearheading the Africa Day last year. I was actually a baby, considered the joining of Clubhouse. I think I joined in April, and Africa Day was in May. So it was really great to be part of those festivities. And for me, is that it was one of the things actually help us all on how we can contribute in changing the perception and image of Africa. Africa, if you listen to the mainstream media is just all about poverty, aid, and problems, and nothing else. But if you look at actually the truths and what's happening on the ground, there are amazing innovations happening, and young Africans are actually tackling these great challenges to become business opportunities, enjoy opportunities, career possibilities. It's just amazing when you are on the ground and you see these things. And for me, that was the best thing in that the first plan was 24 hours to do activities from communicating about African culture, story, food, art, music, health and nutrition, and economic progress. We talked about pretty much everything and in different sectors, but getting sector experiences, sector competent people coming in and speaking. I remember the many people that came in, and it ended up being so good that it was extended, I think, 3 days. And I think there were some rooms like Good Morning Africa, I used to come with, that every single rooms on Clubhouse that has anything to do with Africa, we were all kind of aligning it with Africa Day. So it ended up being like like almost a month of activities before it and after it. And it really did launch most of us. I got from there, I got inspiration from you, and came up my own room of tech news around Africa that we run every week and try to contribute in changing the perception and the image of Africa. That said, from last year, I really do believe this year is going to be much, much bigger, because I think we all have now over a year experience being on Clubhouse under our belts. So I think from the program that we all are sharing, there are 24 different programs that have been set. The same things, the same teams that I already mentioned from last year, we actually enriched it even this year, that individual people are taking charge and running those specific programs as rooms. And we are all trying our very best to promote it. So everyone in this room, and whether you are on stage or not, please do get involved in any kind that you can. If you really want to promote this Africa Day, which is going to happen May 25th, 24 hours program. But you can start now. If you have a room, you can align it and start promoting it, as well as having programs that actually can go together, or even after it, or if you want to volunteer, or if you want to get the pictures, the amazing green pictures we all have, our profile picture, you can get those profile pictures. So whichever room you get in, people notice and ask, wow, what is it? And then you can promote what's going to happen. So specifically for me, I am running one of Africa Rising Room program, where we will be talking about technological advance in Africa, where it's contributing into economic progress, innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship. So if anybody is interested in those ones, DM me. We are thinking of having individual rooms to just discuss about the logistics of that room. So yeah, thank you, Simon, for making me part of it last year and also this year. So thank you so much, actually, for taking such a huge mission in doing it year in and year out. So thank you, and giving the mic back to you.
Thank you, Macy. Thank you for sharing about Africa Day in a really, really thorough way. Jay, how are you doing? And what does this Malawian proverb that says, "Fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot"? What does this bring to your mind, and where are you joining us from? Thank you so much, Jay.
No, thank you so much, Brother Simon, and for all that you're doing all the time. I'm joining you from Seattle, and I agree with what Lord had to say, but also your response to what Lord had to say and what you experienced from a math teacher and instilling that fear in you of math simply because you didn't know what the outcome would be. Or you knew exactly what the outcome would be if you didn't get it right. And it was terrifying. So when you have something that you want to accomplish, something that you want to do in life, and there's that fear that's been instilled in you, you didn't have the encouragement or the right encouragement, you didn't have the motivation, you didn't have the help, the support, the knowledge. That fear is so deeply embedded in your spirit, in your soul, in your thoughts. It's very difficult to overcome. Some people naturally can do it. There's just such a strong passion in them for a particular area or career in life that they're able to rise above it. They're able to go around it, and in order to accomplish whatever that particular goal that they have that is deeply embedded in their heart, in their mind, in their spirit and soul. And then the majority of people can't. So that's where the mentorship really does come in handy. And there were things that I wanted to do in life, but I just didn't know how. Um, and I did have a fear, and still do to some extent, a fear of failure because I don't know how. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. Um, when you have a mentor in your life who is accomplished in that area, and they are willing to take you under their wing and either not charge you at all or not charge you an arm and a leg, but they're willing to share with you the stepping stones that you need to take to accomplish your goal. That helps some of that fear to subside, and it gives you a lot of confidence that if they can do it and if they can reach down to bring you up so that you can do the same thing, that helps that fear to subside quickly. And a very quick, I'm going to give you two quick examples in my life. One, if you're interested in a business, no matter what it is, it will not cost you a dime. Again, I'm in Seattle. There's an organization called Black Dot, and they will teach you the tools that you need to start your business and to maintain it for free. It's great. The second thing is I wanted to write plays, but it's costly. Um, a number of things that you have to do, but it's costly. And I just didn't think that I could actually do that and succeed. And here we go. Here's an organization, took 6 new playwrights under their wing for free, taught us how to write plays. We had to do some homework, some research ourselves. They paid us to write the plays, and I'll just go on and on. So I'm going to stop there. But I think that's one of the things that will truly help you overcome certain fears. And is that if you have someone who trusts, who believes in you, and someone that you can have trust and confidence in to take you under their wing and to give you those tools that you need to be successful. And this is Jay, and I'm finished speaking. Thank you.
Wonderful, Jay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate, your perspectives, especially when you spoke about mentorship and also seeking help, asking for help, whether it's from an individual like a mentor or from an institution like Black Dot or the organization that, invited you and the other, writers, playwrights. That's a really significant contribution to our conversation today and a great idea to overcoming fear, because sometimes, just sharing your fear with other people gives you a solution, but also it helps other people. Actually, you realize it wasn't just you who had the fear of being a playwright, but there were others. You realize it's not just you who had the fear of starting a business, but there are many, many others. So it's great. It's great that you're here. And I want to move on to Michael. Michael, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspective on this proverb from Malawi? It says, fear to let fall a drop will always make you spill a lot. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much for. I really thank Roger for inviting me to this room because it's my first time in this room. I think to me this verb is like this idiom is very relatable. Is like they say, it's like similar to some of the idioms and quotes that people have, great people have said. Is that if you don't, the biggest failure is not trying or not making any at all. And there's so many examples of the fear of you need to make mistakes to be better. But if you don't make mistake, it's either you don't do anything or you have never done anything to break your limit to become better than yourself. So there's so many examples in this world. Like let me give an example, like Nokia. People say Nokia used to be the best phone maker, but why they fail is that they actually say that the biggest mistake they have made is not making any mistake. So I think this is something that we can learn, is that there's nothing wrong making mistake. We live in like what a lot of you have said, we live in a world where people are very afraid of making mistakes, or we define or discriminate, I should say the better word is discriminate people based on their faults, based on their mistakes, based on their limitations. And we should change that. It's like some of you said about America, about some countries' culture where they embrace mistakes. When we embrace it, we are not just embracing the person's ability to make mistakes. We're not embracing the persons for their vices or the things that they've done wrong. We are embracing them for trying their best to be better than themselves. Yeah, and accepting them for who they are. That is love in this way. And I think African community has demonstrated a very strong love for one another and for community. So let's embrace that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Michael. I love how you shared that love is actually a part of fearlessness, but also the story of Nokia. Growing up in Kenya, before there was cell phones, there was Nokia. So there was, basically cell phones were known as Nokia. Anything that looked like a cell phone was called Nokia, And these days, anything that looks like a cell phone is either Samsung or Apple. But I just learned today that the reason why Nokia failed is because of the fear of making mistakes. That's incredible. And it's a wonderful way for us to get close to the end of our time here. I want to come to you, Kenny. Can you tap your mic? I want to make sure we give you space to also share your perspectives real quick. Okay, Kenny, I'm sure we will hear from you sometime this week, because we are going to be here from today, Monday to Friday. And in the course of the week, I will be having guests. So you don't want to miss our session tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. And I'm still looking for more guests. I want to have a guest for the Daily African Proverbs and for the African Father in America podcast as often as possible. So if you'd like to be a guest again, let me or Stella or Lavender know. We are all on the stage here on Clubhouse. And also, if you want to have an Africa Day badge, similar to Rogers, we are looking for volunteers who are going to go, room to room on Clubhouse and promote Africa Day. And also across social media, we are looking for people who can retweet some of the tweets that we are pushing for Africa Day, people who can promote on Instagram, because we really, really want to make this year's Africa Day the most memorable ever. And with that, we've come to the tail end of our conversation. And one is the way you can support this session is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is at the top of the room. And besides that, I'm just grateful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Just remember to be fearless and continue doing your best, in everything that you're going to do today. Thank you all so much. Oh, by the way, typically I normally repeat takeaways from our session. So just quickly, the takeaways today are questions in relation to the fear of making mistakes. So I'll just share the 4 questions real quick so that as we end our time together, you can think about them and you can find answers for yourself. Number 1 is, what is the fear of making mistakes? What is it? Continue questioning yourself and finding your own fear of making mistakes and finding answers for yourself. Number 2, what are some of the common symptoms of the fear of making mistakes for you specifically? And then, how does the fear of making mistakes hold people back? How did it hold Nokia back, And then number 4, what are some ways to overcome the fear of making mistakes? Jay gave us some excellent examples or ideas of how we can overcome the fear of making mistakes. So with that, I am grateful, and I will be seeing you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington.